Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. In tonight's show, we're going to be focusing on some of the mega industrial and economic projects that have been taking place in Egypt over the past few years in light of today's inauguration. The President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurated today the largest wastewater treatment plant in the world that was taking place today in Said in Bahr al-Ba'r. And joining us here tonight in the studio to shed more light on this issue is we're joined here by Mr. Raed, Allam, the corporate finance consultant. Mr. Allam, thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll start off before our discussion checking out this report regarding President Sisi inaugurating the world's largest wastewater treatment plant. Let's check it out and we'll be right back.
احنا بنجيب رجاله تشتغل معانا ونضع فيها الثقه في مشاريع بتتكلف عشرات المليارات ويمكن مئات المليارات كمان. واحنا لما بنيجي نتكلم في موضوع بنعمله مش بنعمله عشان يحل مساله مؤقته، لا احنا بنعمل موضوع يحل مساله مستقبليه. وبحلم والله العظيم ان الحاجه دي تبقى حاجه معموله ترضي ربنا ثم ترضيك.
In a ceremony held in Said, a Suez Canal governorate, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurated on Monday via video conference Bahr al-Ba'r wastewater treatment plant to be used in the reclamation of 400 fidans in Sinai. Bahr al-Ba'r wastewater treatment, which is the world's largest wastewater treatment plant, along with other related projects, including roads located on the western bank of the Suez Canal, were implemented by 16 private companies, 2 national ones, and designed by a private consulting bureau under the supervision of the government. Noteworthy, those plants garner 3 titles from the Guinness World Records, and they are the world's largest water treatment plant, the world's largest sludge plant, and the world's largest ozone generator. President Sisi also inaugurated via video conference on Monday Ras Sidr desalination plant and 5 lift and pumping stations. The Chief of State tackled the issue of water resources, underlining that the government is focusing on the optimum use of all water resources. He added that the state is working to save 2 billion cubic meters from being wasted in the sea to be used in the reclamation and irrigation of the new delta. During the ceremony, the President also tackled the issue of encroachments over the Nile mainstream and the canals, underlining how the previously deteriorating conditions of canals negatively affected Egypt's farmers. In this regard, President Sisi urged the acceleration of cleaning and lining canals, warning against encroachments over Nile banks. He warned that the punishment to individuals who commit encroachments would include the withdrawal of any kind of subsidies they get, even subsidized bread and staples. He underscored that encroachments will not just be removed, but also they will be removed at the expense of violators. It's worth noting that Bahr al-Ba'r wastewater treatment plant serves the cultivation of 600,000 fidans in north and middle of Sinai, and that Bahr al-Ba'r is not the first of its kind targeting at achieving land reclamation in Sinai, but it is the largest.
لما قلنا بكرة أحلى لا ما كانش كلام أغاني وأما جه بكرة فرحنا ولسه جاية الفرحة تاني وإحنا نقدر علي أكتر مش كلام أصله طول عمره اللي صدق حلمه مهما الناس قالوله واللي بيعرف يحقق ويعيش جنبه الناس يقولوا شكله يقدر عنده أكتر من الكلام.
انتوا شايفين بنفتتحه ده بقالنا 4 سنين شغالين عليه عشان نتصدى المشكله زي مشكله تغذيه المدارس بشكل سليم، لكن احنا عايزين نفهم الناس ان في قضايا اكبر من كده كمان، ان احنا يبقى عندنا جيل قوي جدا. انتوا يعني عارفين يعني ايه ان انسان ما ناكلوش كويس وبعدين يكبر ويبقى هو معرض لامراض او لظواهر صحيه تشقيه، تألمه، تحرمه بقية حياته من ممارسة حياة حقيقية. احنا عايزين بلدنا تعيش، وعايزين ننظم حياتنا كويس، وعايزين نطلع منتج محترم، وعايزين نحترم آدمية الناس، وعايزين ننظم حياتنا بشكل في توازن في كل شيء، لأن احنا ناس جادين وأمناء وشرفاء وكمان مأمونين على حياة الناس ومستقبلها. ال8 مليار جنيه بتوع التغذية لازم يتدبروا، فهو عطاء متوازن بيننا وبين بعضنا، احنا نعمل وانتوا كمان تساهموا معنا. اسمحوا لي ان انا اشكر الشركة واشكر جهاز الخدمة الوطنية والقوات المسلحة على هذا الاعداد الجيد.
لما قلنا بكرة أحلى لا ما كانش كلام أغاني، واما جه بكرة فرحنا ولسه جاية الفرحة تاني، واحنا نقدر علي أكتر مش كلام.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Starting off our discussion with Mr. Allam right away. Now, sir, Egypt today witnessed the inauguration by the president of the world's largest wastewater treatment plant in Said. That's supposed to be, I mean, the title itself, big enough to actually earn a title in the Guinness Book of World Records, aiming to cultivate 400 to 600,000 fidans of land. Such a magnitude, such a mega project embarked by the country and the government. How significant is it for the future of the Egyptian economy?
Okay, let us define first what the meaning of mega project. Mega project means in some ideas or in some approaches, okay, it is for the mass production. And in other ideas or in other situations, it means for the mass of people. Okay, so if you talk about such a project, we talk about the mass of people. Okay, although we are growing year after year of populations, and there is a limitation of land, cultivated land. We talk about now up till now we have 6.5 million faddan or something like this. This is not will not cover our needs. Okay, for the futures or near future. So when you issue or establish a project like this, okay, so you can cultivate or go to a reclamation of another land, piece of land, okay, which is a good project for the coming years. Okay, we are not talking about immediate years or nearby years. Okay, because if you would like to reclaim a piece of land or a small piece of land, you take maybe 1 or 2 years to be just break even as a production. So what we talk about, okay, we are talking about long-term plan, okay, for the coming future, okay, maybe for coming 5 years or, and up, okay. So if we talk about this, okay, the most important thing in such things, okay, is that you look for the future, not planning for the certain point of time now or maybe after 1 year. This is the difference between today and all the ages, okay, is that we are talking about the coming decade, for instance, okay, not just for today or just to solve a small problem. Such a project definitely have a lot of variables that we have to take in consideration, that we have to take what we are going to do with reclaimed land, how to move some people, or just, open the way to make some residents over there, and there is a lot of relation to such projects. It is not just this project. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Allam, you've mentioned that the government and the country is looking forward to building for the near and far future. We keep hearing of the world's largest wastewater treatment plant. A couple of years ago, we started hearing about the 3 biggest electrical power generating plant. We keep talking about the prospects of natural gas exploration in the Zohr gas field in the Mediterranean. Now and the renewable energy as well. Now we're talking about the biggest projects, mega projects, not just in Egypt, but also the world. Do you feel that now with these projects, Egypt is actually securing its near and far future in terms of energy, in terms of natural resources? Are we also working on the cultivation of hundreds of thousands of fadans? How is this going to change Egypt's economy or the economic map in terms of the international community?
Okay. This is what we call the strategic planning. Strategic planning, it means that I'm going to look not for the time being, or maybe the coming years or 2 years, I'm looking for the coming 20 years, which is a good way of thinking. Definitely, we received now, these plans, what we can see, fruits, that now our economics is getting better, It is not a big change from old days, but it is in the way, And we marked as a very promising country, for more investment, The World Bank and the European Bank, said that we are in the right way as economic progress. The growth rate, definitely after full or maybe nearby available capacity, will be effective positively on the economic for this project.
Yes.
We talk about thousands of fadans. We talk about saving water with small, very small cost, but yes, the depreciation cost will be high, but if we talk about 20 years or something, it will be different. But definitely after 2 or 3 years, there is something different will be here in Egypt.
Yes. Well, Egypt has embarked on this economic reform program that started off with negotiations with the IMF, and Egypt has been speaking a lot for a few years now about its vision for the year 2030, achieving sustainable development. And a lot of people were skeptical of actually meeting such a target by 2030, which is now practically in 9 or maybe even 8 years' time. Now with the speed and the pace of having all these things, all these mega projects we're not just laying the foundation, they're actually coming up and running. Do you feel that it is now more realistic and more feasible to achieve this target by 2030?
If we are talking about coming 10 years, definitely, for sure, there is a major progress will be happened. You cannot measure things you cannot see. So if I'm going to say, I'm planning for the growth rate, that will be 10% or 12%. Something like by during of COVID, will come up, and you will figure, we planned for such number, but there is out as force majeure, out of your hand, coming up, affecting in different ways. Maybe we are very lucky as Egyptian, that we are not affected that much, like Europe or other African countries, but definitely we passed most of it successfully.
Yes. Well, the inauguration took place today, but for such a project to be inaugurated today, that means that it's been being worked on for a few years now. And ever since President Sisi assumed office, we're seeing that all the projects, all the developments, be it infrastructure, be it mega national projects, whatever they may be, they're moving at a very high pace. Now, which is brilliant by the Egyptian government, it's brilliant for Egypt, but what about the people? How can they keep up with that speed that the government is working on? How can we, because people need to be trained and educated on how to use all these new facilities, these new technologies, this new way of thinking in terms of allocating their resources to be able to have a proper produce. How can that be done to match the pace of the Egyptian leadership and government?
You're absolutely right. Definitely, we have a problem here. Okay, that if the government and our president is running very fast, okay, but we cannot catch this fast enough. Okay, definitely we have to make some learning curve or some media announcement, okay, every when and well, okay, saying, okay, this project, okay, will help, will cost X, Y, Z, will help in such a project. Such a project should be come up after 2 or 3 years with these results or these positive results, okay. This is the way we have to make some support, okay, for the people here, especially that those changes are very fast, okay, and some people are starting to say, okay, we have a problem in such expenses, we have problem, whatever, okay, but if he looks or thinking, okay, about his children future or maybe his situation after 10 years, definitely if there is a proper messages he's received, definitely the things will be better.
Yes. Well, in his speech today during the inauguration ceremony, the president actually alluded to that, and he was encouraging people, if you want to cultivate lands, no matter how many fidans you want, there is an opportunity. We're talking about cultivating lands in north and middle of the Sinai Peninsula. He's also talking about having water resources for the new delta in the northwestern part at the Mediterranean. So is it a responsibility by the government to have these sort of awareness campaigns for the citizens to actually explain to them the amount of potential business they could be making, how to allocate their financial resources into cultivating in these lands? And we're not just talking about agriculture, but we're also talking about all the other services.
Yes, a lot of things. Definitely, it is the responsibility of the government, okay? Because the government is working, but not showing the result of the work, okay? This is the problem. Definitely, it is a matter of the government, the official media, and a lot of resources, other resources, okay? And besides, we have to put clearly the regulation and the term and the conditions to have this and facilitate, okay, whatever our president recommended, okay? It is not a matter, okay, that it is announcement, so let's go for it, okay? Because maybe just a small paper stop everything, so he get frustrated and not happy with this mega project or whatever development it happens, okay? So we have to make a lot of effort, and let me tell you some organizing, okay, of methodologies and approaches, okay, to facilitate for the youth or whatever, the small investors, to go and to do his effort.
Yes. Mr. Allam, now Egypt has been really taking that sort of sustainable development goals quite seriously for over a few years. People were at the beginning they were very skeptical. Maybe it's just a slogan getting people together, but we've seen a lot of projects taking place, being inaugurated by the Egyptian government, and we've seen the United Nations Sustainable Development Programme taking notice as well of Egypt's achievements. We've seen the president talking about sustainable development, and not just in terms of projects, but also the human development aspect of it. I mean, such a project today, that earned 3 titles in the Guinness Book of World Records: the largest wastewater treatment plant, the largest sludge plant, and also the world's largest ozone generator plant. Talking about also climate change, now having the largest ozone generator plant, what sort of message does that give to the international community? And we're all talking about climate change, and we're all talking about the temperature of the world, and the icebergs melting, and the forest fires taking place all over the world, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, the volcanoes. What sort of message is Egypt sending to the international community?
Positive and running in the right way. Okay, but definitely the specialists in the whole world, okay, can read this, okay, and they can figure it out if it is good or not. But still, we are talking about the people, the Egyptian people. We have to invest some methodologies, okay, to grab them to be in the same speed.
Yes.
We have the same need, or we have the same way of thinking, okay, that we would like to see the result of this project. He cannot see the result of this project. This is a problem. He cannot touch it by day, but he has to understand this project for what, doing what for him, for his generation, for his family. Okay, this is a problem. If we are talking about the international investors or the international world, okay, definitely there is some experts. Okay, they can figure out what the idea behind this. Guinness is good. Okay, this is a good remark we have, but it is not a matter of just where we build the biggest plant in the world. Okay, what's the benefit of this plant?
Yes. Mr. Allam, now talking about, I mean, you're a corporate finance consultant, and I want to talk about the financing of such a plant. Now, it was built by 16 private companies, 2 national companies, with the supervision of a bureau that works under the supervision of the government. Now, 16 private sector companies and only 2 nationals. Is that maybe one of the biggest nods of for the private sector, how integral of a part and big of a role that it could play in shaping these national mega projects, shaping the Egyptian economy?
Okay. To start with, definitely all the companies that participated in this project, okay, has a lot of benefits. Okay, if you are not talking about the experience, if you are not talking about how to deal with such a project, okay, so definitely those companies has been beneficial from this. Okay, let me tell you something. Okay, what is any company needs? Or what any company aim to bigger operation.
Yes.
Bigger revenues, bigger net profit.
Yes.
Okay. So, if I participated in many project, big project or mega project or medium-sized project, okay, this is the basically of any company, locally or internationally. So, the experience he had some revenue for him,
yes,
because he can go for further projects in different areas. Okay, now who is going to reform Libya? Our companies, most of them are companies. What about Iraq? The same, our companies, without mention to any names. So it means the experience we had, okay, with the abilities and the capabilities we collected, okay, can expand our company's futures, okay, and make us sound in export markets. This is a very, very, very promising target, and this is very useful for any of us.
Yes. Well, Mr. Allam, being a corporate finance consultant now, the President also mentioned during his speech that this really paves the way for a lot of foreign investors to come and establish their businesses here and establish their own projects in Egypt. Now, with your experience being exposed to many of the international companies, how big of a drum are these projects heard all over the international community? Does it really, how much is the foreign investor aware of these strides and leaps in infrastructure and industrial facilities being established and offered here in Egypt, creating a very good and fertile soil for investments?
So we are talking now about regular investors.
Yes.
Publicity. Definitely we need to develop our means for publicity. Okay, definitely our offices with embassies, definitely whatever organization for our responsible for our publicity about this project. This is a major target for them. We have to make some fairs, we have to take some advantage of this among others. If you look for Germany, for instance, every month, if I remember well, every month they have a major fair, okay, for certain industries. And sometimes say, we are talking just for example, okay, about printing machines, so we are going to make this fair for every 3 years. And at the same time, in the same place, every 3 years, this fair is done and make a lot of sales, okay?
Yes.
So we have to catch some ideas like this, okay, and do it properly, okay, not just to attract some tourism or something like this. It is very important for exchanging, okay, the ideas and exchanging, okay, the investment.
Yes. Well, speaking of Germany, ladies and gentlemen, Minister of International Cooperation, Raed Mashad, met with the new German ambassador to Cairo, Ambassador Frank Hartmann, discussing upcoming opportunities for cooperation between both countries. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.
تحية تقدير واحترام لبطل حقيقي. البطل ده هو مصر وشعبها.
Minister of International Cooperation Raed Mashad discussed Monday with Frank Hartmann, the new German ambassador to Egypt, areas of cooperation with Germany and the recent updates on the ongoing projects with state ministries and authorities in light of Egypt's development priorities. The meeting comes within the framework of the Ministry of International Cooperation's keenness to follow up on the ongoing development cooperation portfolio with multilateral and bilateral development partners, and to coordinate with stakeholders to ensure the value-centric results harnessed through the projects carried out with development partners. The minister also reviewed the ministry's strategy to advance the prospects for economic and development cooperation with multilateral and bilateral development partners through the economic diplomacy's principles, with the aim of documenting development stories to increase the public's awareness of Egypt's development story. The Minister of International Cooperation praised the strategic partnership between Egypt and Germany, which aims to enhance national efforts to achieve development in various sectors, including providing jobs and employment opportunities, enhancing infrastructure and developing education, all to support the implementation of Egypt's Vision 2030. For his part, the German ambassador praised the depth of the economic cooperation relations between Egypt and Germany, alluding to the successful ongoing projects that are being implemented in cooperation between the two countries. The meeting raised the importance of arranging field visits to the most prominent projects brought about through the cooperation between Egypt and Germany to present success stories and elucidate the profound effect these projects have with regards to improving the Egyptians' livelihoods and advancing the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing our discussion with Mr. Allam. Sir, now you spoke of a potential for German cooperation with the Egyptian government. Now, in light of such a meeting, we're talking about Germany, the biggest European economy, one of the biggest in the world, and industry as well. Now, I don't want to just focus on the German economy and the potential cooperation, but I also want to shed light on such a critical period now the whole world is starting to emerge or try and recover from a coronavirus pandemic that has hit the whole world pretty hard. Now, with all the developments taking place here in Egypt and other economies trying to claw their way back into health and safety, how is Egypt constituting a very good prospect and opportunity for these countries?
Okay. First of all, we have some stability or not?
Yes, we do.
We have. Are we secure so far? Okay. Do we have the infrastructure? I'm asking you a lot of questions.
Yes. No.
So, do we have now the good infrastructure?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have some skilled labor?
Yes.
So, what is remaining to invest in Egypt? I'm asking you.
Then they'd come over and start investing.
Okay, this is a side decision because if we are talking about the capital, it means risk, it means little bit scary, okay?
Yes.
So we talk about, okay, if I have some good opportunity here and there, okay, so I have to make some compromises. This is why I asked you for those questions. If we are stable, if we are secured, if we have some potentials, if we have some skilled, okay, people, okay, so there is a huge opportunity to attract, okay, foreign investments, okay, either from Gulf area or European or American or whatever from outside, okay. If we start, okay, a good way to attract the people and give them a real confidence in our systems, definitely we have a good opportunity to succeed.
Yes.
What I mean by a good system, okay, it means that from the day you start contacting us to that date, everything will be received and done, okay, and you can work start from tomorrow. This is the idea. Why some people talking about, okay, let us go for instance, for Dubai or Hong Kong or something like this. You can establish a company within 3 days. Within 3 days. And in some areas of Arab Emirates, okay, they give you a small apartment or a small office, okay, with a secretary and fully furnished. Okay, you would like to invest here? Okay, we have facilities 1, 2, 3, 4. Go for it. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Don't give too much bureaucratic procedures to enhance the people to go.
Yes. Well, it has been an issue for many years, and talking about the investment law and needing amendments for the investment law to minimize the risks, or not minimize the risk, but at least make it easier for the investor to step in and step out of the market, talking about all the bureaucratic procedures as well. Now we're I mean, we're talking about a new republic. We're talking about an age of digitization and digitalization of all the administrative work. How far are we to have such an easy way for a foreign investor to come and invest here in the country?
For investor, definitely there is not an issue, but who is going to coordinate with this foreign investor? This is a question, okay? Okay. If I'm going to say I am an electronic government, okay, so I have to be prepared very well, okay, to be an electronic government. But if there is a problem to achieve this, okay, definitely the whole effort I expended on this has been wasted, okay? If I'm going to say, okay, I'm not going to meet you, I'm just want you to send me these formats and blah, 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 okay? And I cannot upload it because the internet is not has a speed enough, or the line is disconnected. So when we talk about something like this, we have to see, okay, to diagnose and to figure out, okay, what is the weak point in such things, okay, and to fix them officially and professionally, okay, not just okay. Now you can go for the electronic government. Now you can just go to the bank and do whatever, okay. How many people of the 100.104, okay, can use the internet? Okay. I have to establish the base first, okay, from primary school or KG, okay, and then for the secondary school and universities and the old people.
Yes.
Still up till now, a lot of people cannot put their visit on the internet. They are not happy with it, okay, and last days or something, maybe a month ago or something like this, what happened with one of the banks, it affected a lot of people. The way of thinking. I'm not affecting damagely.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Allam, we've seen examples by foreign companies. I mean, talking about Germany, Siemens was actually the one responsible for establishing the three biggest electrical power plants in the world. We've seen a French company that was responsible for the monorail that is being established here in Egypt. We see these examples, and they are companies that deal with the government because there's a political will, so it happens right away. Now, so cutting short some of these bureaucratic problems, are there any sort of private companies, or is there a need for private companies that sole job and purpose would be to facilitate such things, to facilitate all these procedures and make things easier, companies to be established and industries be established in 3 days, if not even 2? Is that also a market for the private sector to start and enter in, or is it still the government?
You cannot. This is purely an official governmental issue, okay? We cannot just deliver it to a private company, but we can make a sort of task team, okay, that has full authorities, okay, in some organization, but not going to the whatever I told you, whatever the caves of the bureaucratic people. Okay, you can just assign this office of task people. Okay, has from A to Z to do everything. Okay, and make a good selection for those teams. Okay, and give them the whole authorities with some revision and follow up. Okay, but definitely this is the best way, because he is at least at last definitely he is related to the government. Okay, but for the private sector, maybe you can go up, talk about driving license, something that can the private sector do? But for some dealing with investors and representing your country, definitely it is not for the private
Yes.
sector. Private sector could be go for the promotion,
Yeah.
go for doing some publicity campaigns or something like this, but definitely not for an official business like this.
Mr. Allam, now we've seen in the meeting between Minister Mashad and the German ambassador Frank Hartmann, they spoke about potential opportunities of investment, be it agriculture, be it education, be it health, being industries. Now, with your experience, Egypt has a lot of many opportunities, really, in the energy field, the information communication technology field, transportation field, agricultural field, tourism, health sector, you name it. In a way that is, I mean, you monitoring how the trends in terms of investments, what do you think would be the most attractive for a foreign investor to come and explore here? Which sector, which industry would be the most profitable and attractive?
Let me tell you some. If I have experience like the German people, okay, in the industry, okay, what do you think if he is going to invest? Industry and feeding industry, okay, and related field to the industry. This is what we're talking about, the pattern of the investors, okay? If you are talking about technology, maybe you talk about Japan or
Yes.
United States or something like this. If you talk about, there is no, some specialization for each country and major investors in the whole world, okay? As we talk about cement, you will see certain 3 or 4 companies, okay? This is the whole target for them. Who are going for cement, okay? Or for steel and iron and whatever. This is what I'm talking about. You cannot specify for the German people, I'm going to give them the agricultural project or tourism project. Yeah, definitely. They can go for some resorts or something like this. But definitely as a type for the industry. Okay, Italy definitely for tourism and ready-made garments, okay, and so on, okay. If we talk about China or something, definitely they are going to talk about what they need to export to Europe because we are near to Europe than them, okay. So I'm going definitely talking about some food industries.
Well, one final question, Mr. Allam. Now, as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, many countries and many industries and many companies were reluctant to invest, especially abroad, because they don't know exactly how tight they will be financially, and if they're going to spend any money, they're going to spend it close to home and not risk an opportunity abroad.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's another ideology, or there's another way of thinking, is that with their own countries being repeatedly hit by lockdown and intense coronavirus waves, it might be a little bit safer to invest in other countries that are not as severely affected as their own. Now, which is the most prominent of those 2 ways of thinking for the foreign investors and other countries?
As risk management, definitely I have to mix between both way of thinking, okay? Because now you cannot say, oh, okay, this is a character of the whole investors in the whole world. You can just define, okay, this is for such industry or such country, okay, the investors, the way of thinking, 1, 2, 3, okay? It's different from other countries. So you cannot say in the same way, okay, all of them will look like this. But definitely we face the both patterns. No, keep slow and keep low profile, okay? And others, no, let us move with the cash and make some investment in other countries. Okay, but the whole over situation is decreasing in the investments.
Yes.
hold the world.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you just heard it from Mr. Allam, we are still dealing with a global repercussion of the coronavirus pandemic, and we're at the same time inaugurating a lot of good, beneficial national mega projects manifested today in the largest wastewater treatment plant in the world in Bahr al-Ba'r. Now, it's not just for the immediate future, but also it's much further down the line as well. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank my very distinguished guest, Mr. Raed Allam, the corporate finance consultant. Mr. Allam, always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Hani Saif. Thank you for joining us.